JBN, we keep you informed. 7 held, gun, vehicle, and cash seized in drug-related operation in Montego Bay. 7 men suspected to be significant players in the illegal drug trade were arrested in a major security operation led by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Division, CTOC, in Montego Bay, St. James on Wednesday. Some of the men who have been detained are believed to be connected to the 3 Jamaican police officers who were arrested in the United States last week after being held allegedly smuggling quantities of cocaine, a release from the police said. The operation, which commenced about 3 a.m. and lasted for over 11 hours, consisted of various sections of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF and the Jamaica Defense Force JDF, the police further said in the release. The law enforcement teams carried out operations in the communities of Rhine Park, Westgate, Granville, Mount Salem, Catherine Mount, and Flanker. Among the men detained are suspected members of a major transnational drug trafficking syndicate that is believed to be behind the illegal exportation of large quantities of dangerous drugs to the United States and elsewhere in North America, as well as to Europe. A large quantity of electronic devices, cash in both foreign and local currency with a value in excess of Jamaican $1.2 million, a BMW X6 motor car, as well as a licensed firearm were seized in line with ongoing investigations. Teen accused of stabbing sister to death. The Hanover police have taken the teen into custody in connection with the stabbing death of his sister in Johnstontown, Lucy, Hanover on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 28-year-old Olivia Sinclair, otherwise called Crisano, of Westbury Crescent, Bridgeport, St. Catherine, and Knuckle Hill in Johnstontown. Reports by the police are that shortly after 12:30 p.m., Sinclair and her brother were at home when an argument developed between them, allegedly because the teen hit his 6-year-old niece. The argument escalated into a physical confrontation, and both siblings allegedly harmed themselves with knives. A tussle developed between them, resulting in Sinclair being stabbed in the region of her chest. Other family members who were at the yard transported Sinclair to the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy, where she was pronounced dead. Several relatives said that the incident would not have escalated if they had only listened to their pleas. "Me I talked to both of them, and I tell them to stop the foolishness long before the argument reached so far," a relative stated. The concerned relatives said that everyone in the family is deeply affected by the incident and added that Sinclair was a jovial, kind, and loving person who they say assisted in any way she could with her younger brother. Man stabbed to death, trying to protect girlfriend from her ex-lover. A 40-year-old man was last night fatally stabbed as he tried to protect his girlfriend during an attack by her ex-lover. The suspect has since been turned over to the police by a relative. He is accused of stabbing 40-year-old Damian Carter at a house on Lawrence Drive in St. Andrew sometime after 10:30 last night. Carter was stabbed multiple times, collapsed on the road as he tried to flee the attacker. He later died. The Constant Spring Criminal Investigation Branch is probing the incident. 5-year-old dies after being hit by a car. 5-year-old Shanika McDonald of a flanker address in St. James died yesterday afternoon after she was hit by a motor vehicle on a section of Claude Clark Avenue in the parish. 3 other family members also sustained injuries in the accident. Reports are that about 1:30 p.m., the driver of a Kia who was traveling towards Montego Bay lost control of his vehicle and hit a Nissan AD wagon. The out-of-control vehicle then climbed the embankment and mowed down the 3 adults and the child. They were taken to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where the adults are being treated for their injuries while the child was pronounced dead. The injured have been identified as Juliet Gillette, Ishmael Gillette, and Sophia Gillette of flanker addresses. They were debushing a section of Claude Clark Avenue when the accident occurred. Jamaica Labour Party JLP councillor for the Montego Bay Northeast Division, Senator Charles Sinclair, who visited the scene of the accident, is cautioning motorists to be more careful when traversing the roadways, especially when a debushing exercise is taking place. This is a very unfortunate situation. The verges have to be maintained. One would expect that persons traversing this particular section of this road, they will be doing so slowly. It is also quite obvious that work is taking place, as the filled garbage bags are positioned along the roadside, and so they should put motorists on heightened alert, Sinclair expressed. Ballistics report in Bolger case inconclusive, says Indicom. The Independent Commission of Investigations, Indicom, has indicated that more analysis is needed in its probe into whether the bullet that killed Auguston resident Susan Bogle was fired by a member of the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, or gunmen. The watchdog said the ballistics report it received on the May 27 incident was inconclusive. While the report shows that JDF weapons were fired, it is understood that none of the bullet fragments recovered matched any particular Army-issued weapon in the probe. It does show that some cases recovered from the scene do match one of the JDF weapons, but there are also other casings recovered at the scene which do not match any of the submitted weapons in this case, Indicom Deputy Commissioner Hamish Campbell said. Bullets will become destroyed when they hit surfaces and areas, so it's not always possible to match a bullet to a particular weapon. We have had some further examination and work to do some analysis of those casings, he explained. He stressed that the investigation was not yet over. The post-mortem has been conducted. Although we don't have the official post-mortem report, we obviously, as we mentioned the other day, know what the post-mortem report says as it relates to how Miss Bogle suffered a single shot. So we are left with a number of casings, which clearly shows more than one round was fired, and we now need to determine cause, he said. Obviously, the security services say they encountered gunmen and those gunmen were firing at them, and cases at the scene certainly are matching security force weapons, so we have to examine what that could mean as well. Bogle's son Omari Stevens said yesterday that he had not been aware of the inconclusive ballistics report. There has been no update since the autopsy. The matter is in the hands of our attorney, he said. Indicom had promised to give me an update the last time I spoke to the chief investigating officer, so I'm just waiting to see. The 43-year-old disabled woman was allegedly shot in her home by a soldier during a police-military operation in the St. Andrew community. Residents reported that soldiers had chased someone into the building. Bogle was rushed to the University Hospital of the West Indies, where she was pronounced dead. Her death sparked widespread condemnation from Jamaicans at home and abroad. Camperdown used PCJ funds for light and water bills. Principal of Camperdown High School, Valentine Bailey, says the bulk of the $6 million of Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica PCJ funds it was awarded by Member of Parliament Kingston Eastern and Port Royal Philip Paulwell was used to finance the school's operating expenditure. In a press release today, the principal acknowledged the receipt of $6 million on August 23, 2017 from Paulwell, who had undertaken to assist the school with fundraising for the development of a mini stadium. The principal said the check was drawn on the account of the PCJ. While we did not solicit the funds, it was our understanding that the same could be used towards the development of a mini stadium, and if needs be, other areas to which attention was needed in the development of the school, Bailey said in the release. He explained that in seeking to make headway on the construction, the school encountered insufficient funds, having used a portion to do drawings and plans. Bailey said that the remaining amount of $4.2 million was kept in an account at the NCB Capital Markets, which he said was used over time to cover school operating expenses, such as electricity and water bills. It has always been the intention of the school to replace the funds once we were able to get the project off the ground. Please note the MP was never consulted nor involved in any of the expenditures. Every dollar can be accounted for, and we welcome and stand ready to cooperate with any investigations that may be deemed necessary, the principal said. Superintendent Clunis passing, a great shock to us all, says Anderson. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson says the passing of Superintendent Leon Clunis has been a great shock, as the force has regrettably lost an extraordinary police officer, colleague, and friend. In a statement released today, the police commissioner said September would have marked Clunis' 29th year of service to the nation and the constabulary. During these years, he held distinguished command of several sections, to include the anti-corruption branch and his last post at the Area 5 headquarters, sub-commanded other areas such as the Organized Crime Investigation Division, the Lottery Scam Task Force, and the Bureau of Special Investigations, and is particularly remembered for his staunch adherence to and promotion of the professional standards of the force, Anderson said. He said Clunis's career was defined by bold leadership that yielded numerous operational successes, garnered him multiple deserved commendations, and inspired and empowered others to give of their best. Clunis passed away suddenly on Tuesday, moments before he was to be discharged from the Kingston Public Hospital. He was recovering from injuries sustained in an early morning gun attack with criminals in the Horizon Park community of Spanish Town, St. Catherine on June 12. Two other policemen, Detective Corporal Dane Biggs and Constable Ricardo Hilton, were shot dead and another injured in that exchange. Superintendent Clunis loved his job as a crime fighter. He understood the dangers and the sacrifices of policing, but never cowered from the responsibility of protecting law-abiding citizens. The incident of June 12 that led to his eventual passing speaks volumes to this, and as an organization and a country, we will remain immeasurably indebted to him, the commissioner said in today's statement. He added, "While we are jolted by this tragic turn of events and our hearts mourn with his loved ones, I use this opportunity to unequivocally declare the JCF's position on crime and criminality. We will not relent in our duty to keeping people safe and creating a safer Jamaica. We will honor Superintendent Clunis's memory by exemplifying the values by which we lived and served with energy, passion, decisiveness, commitment, professionalism, courage, and an unrelenting determination to get the job done and done right." The police commissioner offered condolences and support to Clunis's wife and the children, and said Clunis's contributions and heroism will long be remembered. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.